plan. We are not out to just produce research that will end up on the bench, but we want research that will win grants. We want research that will affect our communities. We want research that will be driven by the needs of the society and will also bring about quality impact on the society. And that's why we're having this theme for this month edition, Ideas to Impact, a strategic guide to intellectual property for researchers. When an idea is innovative, when it is unique, and when it is unprecedented, it is usually immortalized, let me use that word, and attached to the personality or the persons or group of researchers who bring about such research. In order for us to also commercialize that, one of the first and quickest steps to do is to ensure that such ideas are registered and an intellectual property is filed in the name of those researchers or whoever is in charge. It is when this has happened that it can then be commercialized to the industry, and then it has effect on the community. On this note, I would like to invite Ms. Dami to please read the citation of the speaker for today. Please, Mrs. Ayodele, please can you kindly turn on your video so that we can read your citation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, I will.
All right, with your permission, ma'am, I would like to read your citation. Ayodele Ore-Oluwa, strategic advisor and executive representative to Dr. Adaora Dagogo. Ayodele Ore-Oluwa is a dynamic voice at the intersection of science, education, and innovation. She serves as the executive strategist and trust representative to Dr. Adaora Dagogo, global IT leader, serial entrepreneur, and advocate to women in technology, where she leads high-level engagements across business, tech, and social impact platforms, including StechChat and Empower Her. A lecturer in medical laboratory science at Afe Babalola University, and a licensed medical laboratory scientist. Ayodele brings both academic depth and clinical experience to our leadership. With a strong passion for neuroscience and translational research, she is a committed advocate for scientific inquiries, with several peer-reviewed publications to her name. Our work reflects to dedication to advancing evidence-based solutions, and monitoring the next generation of researchers. She's also a mentor in the Empower Her mentorship program, equipping women and young girls with the tools to lead, build, and grow in purpose. This role complements our work as Director of UniConnect, an education platform guiding African students into global purpose pathway, and the founder of the Next Gen campaign, a faith-rooted nonprofit re-engineering society, one child at a time. Ayodele is deep invested in building systems that transform domain knowledge into enterprise and lasting impact, especially in public health, education, and women empowerment. She has represented Dr. Dagogo in strategic sessions with institutions like Fidelity Bank and is known for her clarity, strategic execution, and ability to transform visions into tangible results. Can we give her a round of applause?
Okay, you have the floor now. Can you try to share your screen?
Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Please kindly share your screen so that we can confirm that we can see your screen. Okay, we can
Can you
see
see
us.
that?
Yes, we can see your screen
All
now.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good
Can
afternoon.
you enlarge it a little? Sorry, please.
All right.
Possibly zoom out.
Is it
Okay.
clear?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So thank you so much. Good afternoon to the Vice Chancellor of Adewumi University and to the Registrar. Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be here. And please permit me to spend on the existing protocol. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I was informed it was quite impromptu. Dr. Dora apologizes for not being here. Since came up that she unavoidably absent and she really apologizes. She would love to be here. She would really love to be here. So I'm just going to go straight into this because I hear you've been at Senate meeting for a while now and I don't want to bore any one of us. All right, so today we're looking at ideas to impact turning knowledge into IP products and profits in Nigeria. As people in the academic space, it's not new. We hear that a teacher's reward is in heaven, but it's 2025. That's not true. Teachers also have rewards there, and it's okay for teachers to be rewarded, and to have a fair share of, all the work and the efforts they put into it. Right? Why does it matter? Knowledge alone is not enough. It's not just good enough to know. It's not just good enough to be aware. Doers are the people that take over, right? It takes audacity, it takes boldness to change the world. And it's not just enough to know, it's not just enough to be a bag of knowledge. Can you translate knowledge into actions? And can you translate knowledge into profitable outcomes? So why this topic matters to us right now is as academicians, we must be able to translate what we know into profitability. We must translate what we know into paper, right? Into paper, and that's not publication, into money, into green notes, right? So, and the world is moving fast, right? We're such in a fast-paced world, we're in the world of Gen Z, the Gen Alpha, and things are moving, things are gone beyond just ink. Things are now digital, and it's very pivotal that in a time like this, we understand how to translate what we know into profitability. Now, of course, for us to have even the translation to profitability, it's important that we have an idea. We have an idea, there's something we know. So across different courses, right? So for instance, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. There's so many things that's in MLS, right? There's histopathology, there's hematology, there's chemical pathology, and you have to pick, one specialization. So it starts with the idea. What do you know? What's the idea that you know, and how can you translate this idea into intellectual property? How can you own this idea? Because the truth of the matter is nobody really owns an idea, but anybody can claim ownership of any idea. You can claim ownership to anything because it's once again it's 2025. Everything is on the internet, everything is accessible. Google is everywhere, right? However, what makes us different from the next person is how do we claim ownership on these ideas? How do we possess these ideas? So when it comes to ideas, what ideas do you have? And it ranges from even the littlest things, from when our students in school have to write their project, from chapter 1 to chapter 5, you know, what are you good at? So there are people that are good at conceptualization. They know how to get a great project topic. They know how to come up with concepts that are innovative, concepts that don't just follow the normal trend lines. They know how to come up with something new that is involved, something new that is in line with what's trending in the research world currently. Now, how do you own that niche? How do you become, the king of conceptualization, that if anyone is trying to think of an idea when it comes to research work, when it comes to project work, that they think about you, okay, we need to go to Dr. Samuel, because when it comes to conceptualization, he's very good at it. Or how good are you? I've seen people write chapter 5, discussions of their project work, and you just know there's something special about this. There's something different about this. So how do you find something that you're very good at and claim ownership on it? How do you find something that you're very good at and make it yours and make it rememberable? That people can look at you and say, "Oh, he's very good at that," and you can turn that, into intellectual property. Now, how do you make intellectual property of your knowledge? There's so many ways. You can make it into courses, you can make it into books, you can make it into webinars, right? Because not into products. So many things sell out these days. So many things sell out these days. For example, ebook. If you're so good at research, if you're so good at conceptualization, how about you write a book on how to come up with a good research offer? Now, when you want to come up with books, especially when you don't have a big platform, you want to take note of starting with low ticket offers. Now, low ticket offers, they may look like, oh, one book is just selling for 2,000. How does it add up? Now, because it's very affordable and because it's low ticket, it sells out faster. So if you have a 2,000 naira ebook, you're just going to sell to 100 people to make 200,000 naira. And now, because it's an ebook, you don't need to print, you don't need to get an ISBN, you don't really need anything. You just need to make sure that it's a PDF, it's well written, it's well translated, and everybody, can read and understand it. And, you share it when you put it on, all those, you put it on digital platforms. We have digital platforms like Self-Planning, we have Nestude, we have Seller, right? For those kind of digital platforms, you don't really need the whole publishing, copyright, process. All you just need is a book and you upload it on the platform, you put a price, people go to digital platform, they buy it, and it's very automatic. Once they make payments, the platform sends them the book, the platform sends you your money, right? So that's also translating. So when it comes to translating our ideas into intellectual property, it doesn't have to be grand, it doesn't have to be the big things. It's also knowing how to start small. It's also knowing that within our school environment, within our learning environment, we can create courses. We can create courses, a once in 3 months courses on okay, how for you have final year students at a particular time, you can come up with a course. How do you write a project that can be published? Because we all know that not all project works can be published. There's some works that are just shabbily done, and you know that they can't cross the terrain of the universities. However, there are students that want more, than just graduating. They want more and they're interested in that. So how about you come up with a course that says, how to come up with a publishable project work? Now, when you put that kind of course out, you can put it at a fee. Now, with that kind of course, you don't even have to go low ticket. You can just go straight away high ticket and put it at 50,000 naira. Now, at 50,000 naira, your target is just to get 10 people to register for that kind of course, and that will lead to a total of 500,000 naira. So, when it comes to profitability, the question is really, what is it that you're good at without a doubt? That that you can give out value, and it's really a problem where you find yourself. So when it comes to academics, or when it comes to being academicians in an educational environment, when it comes to research, you really have to ask yourself, where's the gap in research? For instance, I'm doing a neurotoxic study right now on female rats. And of course, I've had to outsource, quite a number of things to different people in this process of animal handling and all of that. Why? Because they have a knowledge that they've owned. They've claimed ownership of this knowledge. When they talk about this knowledge, it just sounds smarter than me. And I feel like I have to give them if I want to come up with something good. So when it comes to translating our ideas to profitability once again. It's really about what do you know without a doubt? What can you do? What's that value that you can offer? And what problem does it solve in that environment? And at what fee can you give it for? So when you translate the knowledge you have into ebooks, when you translate it into courses, when you translate it into webinars, and even best of all, collaborations, right? You can collaborate. 4 or 5 lecturers can come together, across 3 colleges. Over here at Adewumi University, we call it colleges. I don't know if you call it faculties there, 'cause so across colleges, 3 lecturers can come together across colleges, medicine college, engineering college, come up with a research topic, that encompasses both college. And we bring in, you bring students on into it. With that, you're able to do a work that can give you about 4 publishable papers. And aside from monetary value, it also adds value to yourself. It also adds some sense of belonging to even the students. So at the end of the day, when the students realize that they're giving you value, they're able to work with you, and they're able to, they want more and they're interested. So what's intellectual property? Is basically exclusive ownership, marketable assets, and protects creativity. So intellectual property gives you exclusive ownership. When you write an ebook, and you put your name on it and you put it on a digital platform, the book is yours. It's not just in your head, right? So when a student comes to you to ask you for something that you have in your ebook, or somebody just comes to ask you something that you have in your ebook, you don't have to talk again. Oh, I already have this I already have this written down, and you can access it on that platform, and they will go and buy it. It gives you exclusive, ownership. So if somebody comes to meet you and then you tell them that this is how research works, this is how it goes, and they want to explain to another person, instead of explaining to the other person that, oh, this is what I read in the book. Of course, Nigerians are very lazy. They'll go, oh, I bought the book, I think you should buy the book. It translates into profitability. It gives you an exclusive ownership of your knowledge. So that's why it's important to be able to transform what you know into products, marketable assets. Marketable assets. It's something that can always be sold in your absence, in your presence. You can leave it on your LinkedIn profile. You can leave it on your Facebook profile, and it protects your creativity, because nobody can write like you. Nobody can speak like you. If you're going through the course route, nobody can disseminate information like you do. So it protects your creativity. It's not just random knowledge. It's not just in what you have to offer. It's also in the way you deliver it. Nobody can deliver it as much as you can. Nobody can deliver it in the unique way, that you're wired to deliver information. So it protects it. And most of us lose these ideas because, remember, like I said, you're not the only person with great ideas. If you're thinking about something, you must know that like 10 other people are thinking about it. So once you take a step and you do, it makes you different. It makes you stand out. It makes you a star. So you must always, take the bold step, to always do. You must be a doer, right? So you must take the bold step to do. Enables commercialization. Remember, people can't buy what's in your head. People can't buy, oh, I think she knows it. Can you hear me? I think I'm cut off.
We can hear you clearly. We can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
We can hear
okay.
you. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're audible enough. We can hear you.
All right. So it enables commercialization. People can't buy what's in your head. People can't buy what you're thinking about. People can only buy what you've shown them. People can only buy what is visible. So we have to be visible. If your work is not visible, if your work is not out there, if people cannot pinpoint you and your work together, it's not commercializable. So it enables commercialization, and it boosts innovation culture. When you take a bold step to write one book, eventually it leads to many other books. And the thing about ideas is that once you start with a book, more ideas begin to flow. Once you start with a book, next thing you know, you're organizing physical workshops that people have to pay for. And it's almost like even the certifications that we get, as academicians. Why do you trust a particular person, to pay for their course and get their certifications? Because it's really just their signature on it. It's because they've proven over time, through track record, that they know what they're doing. And without a doubt, we believe them. So same thing for if you just show up every day, if you just show up, with your knowledge, if you package your knowledge properly, people, you'd also begin to realize that innovation will birth innovation, and you just keep going higher and higher from there. So copyright, right? So it starts with books, like I said. Start with small books. It doesn't have to be the big books. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Ideas like how to, in fact, even as little as how to find, scholarly index journals. Most people don't know how to do it. Most students don't know how to do it. You can come up with an ebook about that. The ebook may not even be more than 5 pages, right? And you put it on a digital platform. It doesn't have to cost too much. It can cost about 3,000 naira. Because you're going low ticket offers, you want people to come for it. You want a lot of people to come for it. So it's like 3,000 naira. Your target is 100 people, 300,000 naira. Think of something innovative. Once again, what's the knowledge gap? What's the problem gap in this place? So how to find Scopus index journals, how to reference properly, the different acceptable referencing styles we have in Nigeria. You can write an ebook about that. And for courses, there's so many things to write courses about. How do people get collaboration for courses? Even a course, I think a fantastic topic is how to apply for grants. Most people don't know how to write a good essay to get them grants. Most people don't know how to put their research proposals together. So how to apply for grants, how to apply for research proposals, those are courses that you can put together and put a fee to it, and it can translate into profitability, right? So trademarks, of course, if you want to trademark it, currently in Nigeria, you can run a sole proprietorship business, or you can register your company, or you can run a company under your name. So it really depends. You can decide to do it under your name. You can decide that, this is just under Ayodele Ore-Oluwa, and people can just pay directly to me. Or you can even go a step further and make it a business, Ayodele Ore-Oluwa Educational Services. So currently, I run UniConnect, and what we do at UniConnect is mostly similar to this. We help students, design research concepts. We help them with coming up with research proposals. We help them with writing, ensuring that they're able to translate their passion into purpose and to put these things into writing. And of course, for people that are serious about going somewhere, they're really interested in these services. So it just depends. How do you want to brand yourself? How do you want people to perceive you? Do you want, if you're already a professor, you can just go Professor Ayodele, Educational Services, and people trust you, because it takes a long while to become a professor. So people just trust you that you know what you're doing. And once you put your name to it, it translates into profitability instantly. Now, patenting is quite, it's quite sensitive, because you can't patent if it's not very, very original. But because, it's an innovative school, when I was reading about Thomas Adewumi University, I think one thing I saw was that, it's a school particular about research. It's a school, particular about coming up with new ideas. So, of course, by all means, if you do come up with new ideas that have not been seen anywhere, if you do come up with innovations that have not been heard of anywhere, patent it. By all means, put your name on it, by all means. And all these things can be done, with the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission. and I think they just increased their prices a while ago. But I don't think it should be more than 70,000 naira for limited liability. But I think trademarking is over 120,000. But like I said earlier, our law in Nigeria allows us to run businesses under our names. So you can definitely trademark it around your name. You know, Dr. Ayodele Services has a nice ring to it. Professor Ayodele Services has a nice ring to it. The most important thing will be, are you offering value? Are you solving a problem? Are you solving a legitimate problem? Is there a gap in the system? Right. So basically the same thing. Digital products, workshops, consulting. We haven't spoken about consulting yet. You know, a lot of people want consultation. A lot of people want to consult, especially when it comes to, a lot of people, a lot of students are confused about what to study, what not to study, especially with the kind of system we run in Nigeria, where you can apply for medicine and surgery and end up in microbiology. How about you bridge that service gap, where students are actually reached out to and they can bear out their hearts and we can navigate what they actually want to do with what they're studying in school. So how about consulting? Have you looked into consulting? Have you looked into what you can consult students on? Even with consulting, it enlarges your scope of profitability because parents are also excited about consulting because parents want to know what are the career opportunities for their students in these particular courses. So if you're recently I found out that physics is such an innovative course. I wouldn't have known if somebody I wasn't related to studied physics, right? And I realized that there's so many things, in that course that we're not just aware about. So how about you start a consultation in that? How about you put up a flyer? I'm a physician. I studied physics, and here are the career choices in physics. How about you just enlighten people once again, find a knowledge gap and fix it. Find a knowledge gap and fix it. Innovations, are there apps? Are there tools? Now for apps and tools, there's the plagiarism when it comes to researches. People want to run plagiarism checks, especially during the project season. You may want to get into that during the project season. Pay for Grammarly, pay for Qbolt, and speak to people ready to run plagiarism check. I can run it for you. You pay a little fee, people pay you. You have, once again, it's always, you always have to be very calculative when it comes to profitability. You have to know that making money is a numbers game. It's really a game of how many people do I need to make this amount of money. So you can't go into business blindly. You can't go into this blindly and say, okay, if I make profit, if I don't make profit. No, from the beginning, you have to calculate, right? How many people do I have to put together to make this amount of money, right? So if I'm going to pay for Grammarly, if I'm going to pay for 20,000 naira for Grammarly and I want to make 100,000 naira back, it means that in this month of May, where I've paid for Grammarly, I must get 5 students to make 100,000 naira. I must get 5 people to make 100,000 naira. So it's a numbers game. You must always calculate beforehand. So if I'm releasing an ebook, or if I'm releasing a template, but you can even release a template, a template of how project works should go, have a template of chapter 1 to chapter 5, package it properly and sell it. In your template, you can write chapter 1, background, introduction, chapter 2, literature review, chapter 3, methodology. You place it out there that when somebody sees it, they know exactly what to do at every chapter. You can sell templates, right? You can host trainings, coaching. You can host trainings on how to animal handling, animal safety. Give people, if you're not authorized to give certificates of completion, give certificates of participation. Find something that entices people to the services that you're offering. Be innovative, think outside the box, think of tools, apps, prototypes that you can create. Oh wow. So this slide was prepared by Dr. Adora. I can't believe I'm seeing this. Okay, so low ticket to high ticket pathways. So you start small so you can grow bigger, right? Remember, it's a game of numbers. So if you're starting small with the ebook, you also do the Zoom sections, right? With your Zoom sections, if you charge it at 2K, your goal is I want 100 students on this Zoom section. So that's 200,000 naira. What do you want to teach on this Zoom section? You look at the students, you look at those group of people, you look at your community of doctors, your community of lecturers, look at your community and decide, what's the knowledge gap here? What's the value I can offer? Now, when you started small, what happens when you start small is that you're able to build a track record, right? You're able to build a track record, you're able to build your confidence, you're able to learn on the job, and you're able to grow bigger. Next thing you know, you're having courses, you're having mentorship cohorts where you just want 5 people in your mentorship group and you're good for the month. You can now consult people and you can now go into corporate partnerships. When after you start small, next thing you're reaching out to, research gates, because you now have a community, that produces about 20 publications monthly. You now have a community that also produces this product, and you're able to go into great partnerships because now you have a track record, you have evidence, you have testimonies from people that you've worked with. So, example of practical offers: academic templates, research guides, lab report models for those in STEM. How do people report properly in the lab? So the ways we report in medical laboratory science is definitely different from how things are reported in engineering college. So you can have lab report models. This is how it should be reported, and then you sell it to people. Online tutorials. I think everybody here must be aware that there's money on YouTube. There's money on social media platform, even TikTok pays, right? So how about you open a YouTube channel and you teach there? When I was in school, Indians were my best friends, because YouTube worked wonders, absolute wonders. So how about we open YouTube channels and then we begin to teach there about formulations? Actually, this is so good because my project supervisor, when I was doing my undergrad, used to come up with these things, herbal formulation from research work, because he was really interested, in herbal formulation. So from him, I learned a lot about curcumin and all of that. So if you come up with herbal formulations, how about flashcards and resources? I have a friend that's a medical doctor, and what she does presently, she has an app, that's for medical doctors, and on the app, what she does is that there's pediatrics, there's gynecology, and for each courses, there are just flashcards that quickly remind you of what's of different topics. So how about we come up with flashcards, right? Flashcards that can be sold, digital flashcards, and so many resources. There are endless numbers of resources that can be turned into profitability. And of course, the IP process in Nigeria. Now, you won't have to register with all of these people if you just want to use your name and you want to conduct business under your name. However, if you want to give it a special name, if you want to change the name, if you want to make it Canaan Tax Enterprises, then you probably have to do all this registration. But if you just want to continue under your name, it's allowed, and you can package it as ebook, videos, slides. You can promote it on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram. You can partner with schools. You can partner with influencers. But most importantly, you have to be visible. You have to be out there. You can't be doing stuff and basically, like the Bible says, you can't be a city set on a hill and be hiding under a bushel. So you really have to. Now, I'm not sure because I see my dad and my mom is here. So for designs, you can use Canva for graphics. That's more like a Gen Z thing to do. However, you can outsource. Canva is actually a simple app that you don't need to pay for Canva. Canva is free. In fact, there are already templates on Canva for you to just translate into what you want. So for Canva, you just need to open Canva and all of that. And for sales, you can use Seller, you can use Paystack, you can use Sefani. There's so many digital platforms that are free for you to just put your products on. And you can just put your products on WhatsApp. You can put on your WhatsApp status that, oh, I have a book for sale, and people pay, and then you send them the book. And also for courses and for webinars, you can use Telegram, you can use WhatsApp, you can use Zoom, and for marketing, of course, all our social media platforms and all of that. So there's so many success stories. So I don't know if we know Adeife on Instagram, Adeife Adeoye. Adeife Adeoye basically sells her
Yes,
knowledge
yes,
on
she's a
how to
very
get.
popular name. Yes.
Yeah, so that's just an example of what we can do in the world of academics, selling your knowledge. All Adefe does is sell her knowledge on how to land remote jobs, sell her knowledge on how to prepare CVs. And, she sells out on these CVs. Recently, she launched an academy, on how to position yourself for jobs. And before I joined this call, I checked, and she had 4,000 people sign up. Why? Because she just positioned herself, and probably the sign up fee is just going to be maybe 2,000 naira. Now imagine 4,000 people signing up for a 2,000 naira course. That's going to translate higher, and that's what we're saying about low ticket offers, for a higher gain, right? So you must position yourself as knowledgeable about a particular thing. Once you position yourself, you can now release this thing as a product, because people won't go into our head to pick up this knowledge. So we have to package it either as courses, either as ebooks, as webinar, and we have to give to these people. So basically, that will be all for today. So I'll just end with this. What do we know? Who can we help? What can we sell? And, how can we protect it? And that will just really be all today. And I just hope we were able to learn one or two things. And I hope that, this was an impactful section. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was a very beautiful session. I am tempted to actually rename this event as actualizing the you beyond the academic brouhaha, if I'm permitted to do that, my Vice Chancellor. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ayodele, for doing justice to that. It has opened our minds about what we can do beyond just publishing, teaching, and trying to also get grants, other things that we can actually do. Many of the things and examples you have cited are doable, valid, and also achievable. I want to take questions from the audience. I also want to appreciate those that are joining us online. We would love you to kindly put the location where you joined in from so that we can properly recognize you. For example, you could just put your name, and then if you're joining from Chicago, please put it there, or possibly you are joining from Illinois, or you're joining from Ilorin. Anyone, you can actually put it there so that we can properly recognize you. So questions from the audience. Do you have any questions or clarifications from the audience? Okay, thank you. I want to pass this comment. Do we have questions online, actually, from online audience? You may put in your questions in the chat. You may put in your questions in the chat. Okay, Dr. Olabi. Do we have any other question aside Dr. Olabi? Okay, Mr. Labode. Any other one? Okay, so we take these two questions. Okay, those that are dropping in the chat. Ayodele from Abuja, thank you. Ellen and Abi from Ilorin, thank you for joining us. Okay, so I'll take Dr. Olabi, Dean, Faculty of Management, and then the Head of Department of Computer Science for their questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ayodele Ore-Oluwa. We appreciate you. Personally, I appreciate. But I want to make some comments, or probably I want some clarification as far as preventing the idea theft. Now, at what point in time can you claim the legal right of an idea when we talk of intellectual property? At what point in time? Because when you conceive an idea and it's not properly registered, how can you claim the legal right on that one? Please, I want some clarification. Thank you.
Let's just take the second question so that you take it together. Is that fine? Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. As a follow-up to the first question, in your closing remark, you said that we should publish less. And under that, we said we should focus on packaging knowledge, not just publishing. Can you expatiate on that more?
Okay, did you get the question? You are muted. Can you please?
Yes, I got the question.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Just before you answer them, do we have anyone with questions online? Can you drop it in the chat box now, or you just unmute yourself to ask the question? Anyone? Okay, please go ahead to answer the two questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll start from the first question. The first question spoke about at what point do you consider idea theft, right? So I would say just like the same thing with plagiarism, right? We don't consider plagiarism until it's really word for word. And there's also a percentage for plagiarism that is accepted. With idea theft, it's really just it's almost like I said, nobody has a monopoly of any idea, to be very honest. Nobody has a monopoly of any idea. So nobody can deliver an idea the way you deliver it. It's not really about the idea, it's more about the idea delivery. In what language do you communicate this idea? In what words do you communicate this idea? What's the attitude? What's the body language? That's what makes ideas, or that's what makes different thought leaders different from each other. It's not really because they're sharing different thoughts. It's not really because everybody's saying different things. It's just really that everybody is saying the same thing, but in different ways, right? So when it comes to idea theft can only be if it's done word for word, it's done delivery for delivery, it's done, across every line, is done in the same way. So with any idea that you have, just make sure it has the originality of you. It has the originality of this is how I would normally communicate. It has the originality of, well, this is me and this is how, I would deliver it anywhere and anywhere. It's not like it's somebody's work, and you're just picking it and you just want to put your name on it. That's what idea theft. Somebody has worked on it. Somebody has worked on a book. Somebody has worked on a course. You buy his course and then you pull off the first page and then you put your name. That's what's considered idea theft. Now to the second question, I'll say, please publish as much as you can. Don't stop publishing, please. I wouldn't say that. Publish as much as you can. But whilst we're also publishing, we must also learn to translate our papers into green paper, and that's what we're talking about. Also packaging, the two can go simultaneously. The two truths can coexist peacefully. So whilst we're publishing, we're also working hard to translate our publications into money and packaging them. So it's not just that we're focusing on publishing and we're ignoring packaging them, or we're focusing on packaging and we're ignoring publishing. It's that both can work hand in hand. So that'll be my answers. Any further questions?
Thank you so much for that beautiful answer. I want to also add that in a more clearer way. Dr. Olabisa, let's say, for example, you have an app as a statistician, as you develop an app that can uniquely do census in Nigeria, and that is your ingenuity or the ingenuity of your team. The first procedure is for you to determine whether you're going to file trademark for the logo that belongs to your app, or you're going to file a copyright so that somebody else does not copy your application, or you're going to file intellectual property for that app, or you have a device that is handy. So the best way to get that done easily, there's a portal to register copyright. It is called e-registration.copyright.gov.ng. I can share that with you and with every other person. So that way, when you file a copyright, there's actually a guide on their website. They'll guide you on whether you are going to go for copyright, trademark, or you are going to go for IP. So that when that is done, any other person would not just pick your portal and then replicate it in one way or the other or tweak it. For example, everywhere you see the brand of Coca-Cola, they have a trademark. That is their trademark. And that's why you will not see any other company trying to tweak anything related. Biggie Cola tried to do that, to try to bring something as close as to them. But they have not released their own trade secret. It is for them. So, and that applies to many other things as well. So when somebody writes a book, they will say, all rights reserved. Even websites. Nobody can pick the website of Thomas Adewumi today and then just get access to, let's say, the plugin and then the theme that was used for it and then picks it up. That person, we can meet in court because of that, because we have a copyright on that. So we need to have copyright on the document that are our own ingenuine intellectual property. Those things that we started from the scratch that are almost 100% ours. Not something that we just brought in together from one way or the other and then bring it up, somebody's idea, steal A, B, C together and form a D and say, it's now my idea. No. So, and in Nigeria or generally, it is the first person to register something that is genuine that is actually the owner of that intellectual property or whatever has been filed. And that's just to add an addition to what we've done. Thank you so much. In a related manner as well, you can actually also have a company registration. You have a CAC document that is backing. There are several categories. You can have a business registration. You can have a CAC document. You can have a limited liability. You can have a public liability company. So, for example, now if my business name. Okay. So if you, for example, now have a brand that is called Dr. Oluwabi Incorporation, for example, now, if you are the first to register that, any other person that wants to register that name will not be able to register exactly Dr. Oluwabi Incorporation. The person may now tweak it and say Oluwabi Taye or Oluwabi whatever, because you are the first to register it. For example, now, NUC will not approve any university that wants to say it wants to be to Thomas Adewumi University in the future. We have registered it. We have a business CAC registration on that. So that's the difference between CAC registration and then copyright filing for ingenuine products that comes out of you. That's just a hard in some additions to what our speaker has said. Do we have other questions as we plan to round off this event now? Do you have questions from anyone? Okay, I don't think there are questions anymore. I want to appreciate our speaker today for doing justice to this topic, and also please send our good wishes to Dr. Adaora for making this happen through you today. I want to take a final wrap as I take the closing remarks from the Vice Chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, distinguished colleagues, for your presence and participation at this month's edition of the TAU KnowledgeX. I want to, on behalf of the university, appreciate our speaker, Dr. Adaora, and of course, Ms. Ayodele Ore-Oluwa for delivering this very beautiful KnowledgeX. It's a knowledge exchange session, and want to thank those who have interacted one way or the other. You have all seen it now. You know, there is this saying that the reward of a teacher is in heaven. You can see you can actually, apart from your salaries, get that reward here on earth. I personally have also seen new ways in which I can offer services for some monetary reward. So I wish our colleagues in public university could join this session. You don't have to sell handouts or take something from students. You can actually monetize your knowledge and your intellect in legitimate ways. This is really an eye-opening session, and I'm grateful to our speaker for delivering this. I hope we shall see more academic enterprises from colleagues now. I just feel so sad because I've been doing Turnitin free of charge for a lot of people. I imagine how much money I could have made. Yes, my license copy of Turnitin. Many of my friends, even from outside of other African countries where the institutions don't have Turnitin, they send to me and I keep on running plagiarism checks for them for free. I wish I had known this, but now I think I know better. So on that note, I want to thank everyone, and then we look forward to another edition. And thank the organizers, Joshua, Damilola, and Dr. Farumbi, and everyone else, the ICT, Dari, Kolawole, and everyone who has contributed to the success of today and the works. I was at the edge of my seat, hoping that the lights would not go off, forgetting that actually this place was connected or is connected to the inverter. To thank you all very much, and look forward to another interesting edition of the monthly KnowledgeX. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. That was a very beautiful one. But for bringing this event on, I'll take a cut from it. I'll see you in person, ma. Maybe just like 2.5 meters monthly. Thank you so much. That was a joke anyway. I want to appreciate everyone who has... No, don't worry. Thank you very much, sir. Colleagues, this is a very beautiful evening. Today at Okoyerese, I wish those that joined us could see the beautiful ambience of TAU. There's been no sunshine since morning. We've just been enjoying this cold, chilly weather. And I have no choice than to release every one of us to resume back to our duties and other assignments we have ahead in plan for today. On this note, I want to welcome us once again to this July edition of the KnowledgeX and say, by God's grace, we'll see in the same venue in August. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening.